There are moments in life when the ground beneath you shifts, when the things you trusted collapse, when the people you depended on disappear, when the prayers you prayed seem unanswered. And in those moments, the question is not, "Where is my blessing?" but "Where is my God?" This message is for the people who are tired of shallow positivity, tired of being told to just have faith while their world is falling apart, tired of prosperity messages that don't hold up in hospital rooms, courtrooms, or funeral homes, tired of being told to smile when their soul is breaking. Psalm chapter 23 verse 4 says, "Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me." Notice what David does not say. He does not say, "God kept me out of the valley." He does not say, "God removed the valley." He says, "I walked through it, and God walked with me." This is the kind of faith the world needs today. Not a faith that denies pain, but a faith that survives it. Not a faith that avoids valleys, but a faith that walks through them. Not a faith that silences questions, but a faith that brings questions to God. Job understood this. Job lost everything: his wealth, his health, his children, his stability. And when he cried out in agony, his friends tried to fix his theology. They tried to explain his suffering. They tried to make it neat, clean, and comfortable. But God did not rebuke Job for lamenting. God rebuked the friends who tried to silence him. Because lament is not unbelief. Lament is worship in the dark. Lament is faith, refusing to pretend. Lament is the soul saying, "God, I don't understand you, but I still come to you." Even Jesus lamented. Hanging on the cross, he cried, my God, why have you forsaken me?" If Jesus himself could express anguish, confusion, and pain, then surely God can handle yours. We live in a world where people are finally realizing that pretending isn't healing, that suppressing emotions doesn't create strength, that trauma doesn't disappear because you quote a verse, that grief doesn't evaporate because you stay positive. This is why therapy and mental health awareness are rising globally. People are discovering what Scripture taught thousands of years ago. Healing begins with truth, not denial. David didn't say, "I pretend the valley isn't real." He said, "I walk through it." Job didn't say, "I'm fine." He said, "My soul is in anguish." Jesus didn't say, "Everything is okay." He said, "Why have you forsaken me?" The Bible gives you permission to be human. But here's the hope. Valleys are not destinations, they are passages. Shadows are not realities, they are distortions. And God does not promise to remove every valley, but He promises to walk through every valley with you. Now let's shift to something just as urgent. The world is fractured, divided, polarized. We are living in an age of us versus them. People no longer listen to understand, they listen to attack. Social media algorithms feed us only what we already agree with, creating echo chambers that make the other side look like enemies. And the more divided we become, the more dehumanized the other becomes. But the gospel calls us to something radically different. Ephesians chapter 2 says that Jesus broke down the dividing wall of hostility, not just between God and humanity, but between people and people, between Jew and Gentile, between groups who hated each other for generations. And then Jesus told a story that shattered the entire social order, the Good Samaritan. In the first century, Jews and Samaritans were generational enemies. They didn't speak, they didn't worship together, they didn't touch each other's food, they didn't walk through each other's towns. They were divided by history, culture, religion, and politics. And Jesus chose the most hated person in the story to be the hero. The priest walked by, the Levite walked by, but the Samaritan, the one everyone assumed was the villain, became the example of love. Jesus was teaching something revolutionary. Christian love is not agreement. Christian love is proximity. Christian love is crossing the line everyone else avoids. Christian love is seeing dignity in someone who doesn't look like you, vote like you, worship like you, or think like you. In a polarized world, the most radical thing you can do is build a bridge. So how do we live this out? How do we navigate valleys and divisions with biblical wisdom? First, acknowledge your valley. David named it. Job named it. Jesus named it. Healing begins with honesty. Second, bring your pain to God, not away from Him. Job didn't run from God, he ran to Him with raw emotion. God can handle your truth. Third, walk with people who are different from you. The Good Samaritan didn't wait for agreement. He moved toward the wounded man. Proximity heals what distance exaggerates. Fourth, refuse to let algorithms disciple you. Social media is designed to divide. Scripture is designed to unite. Spend more time in the Word than in the feed. Fifth, become a safe place for others. People don't need perfect Christians, they need present ones. They don't need answers, they need empathy. They don't need judgment, they need compassion. Sixth, remember that valleys end, shadows fade, pain transforms, and God is not just the God of the mountaintop. He is the God of the middle, the God of the mess, the God of the valley. And seventh, choose love over labels. Choose dignity over division. Choose compassion over correctness. Choose the way of Jesus over the way of culture. Because the world doesn't need louder Christians. It needs deeper ones. It needs believers who can walk through valleys without losing faith, and walk across divides without losing love. Your valley is not your grave. Your questions are not your weakness. Your pain is not your disqualification. And the people you disagree with are not your enemies. God is with you in the valley. God is calling you to be a bridge. And God is strong enough to carry your questions, your grief, your confusion, and your calling. This is the kind of faith the world is waiting to see.